Shabbat Shalom. We had originally, we're going to have a guest speaker today for Pride Shabbat that we're celebrating, and you'll see more celebrations happening later. And the speaker unfortunately fell through, so you are stuck with me. Not so much Dream Pride Shabbat representative. I understand. I have been trained to be an ally to those in the LGBTQ community for my entire life. I, by dint of who my parents are, where I grew up, I've had LGBTQ teachers since I was in first grade. I have members of my immediate family who are members of the LGBTQ community. I have been a part of theater groups in high school that learned about diversity and LGBTQ issues and then wrote skits about it and traveled all over southern Wisconsin performing those skits, trying to teach others. I grew up listening to Free to Be You and Me. I am someone who has, for my entire life, been aware of what it means to try to be an ally to those in the LGBTQ community. I went to college and read Torah at my friend's trans mitzvah when they transitioned from being a Christian Scientist female to an Orthodox Jewish male, and are one of the most learned Jews that I know. And I don't think I've really been a good ally. And I think that in what I've been reading recently, the idea of allyship in general is sort of being called into question. Because what does it mean to be an ally to people in the LGBTQ community? It means that we, what? Welcome them into our spaces. We give people aliyot, regardless of whatever their orientation is. We do weddings regardless of whatever their orientation is. We let them be rabbis, whatever their orientation is. And all of that we would put under the category of allyship, that I would put under the category of allyship, is really under the category of, being a person. And what it means to just have people be in our community. And so when we think about what it means to be an ally, to welcome in, I think we need to push ourselves a little bit farther in what that really entails. And actually, in the Torah that we read today, when the priestly blessing is given, the first of the blessings is, we say to God, Adonai yivarechecha v'yishmerecha, right? May God bless you and yishmor, and guard you. And I never actually realized that was redundant until this week when I was reading commentary on it that said, well, wait a minute. What do you mean you have to bless and guard someone? Like, what, isn't blessing enough? And so the Midrash there says, what kind of a person gives a gift knowing that listim, that thieves could come along and just take it away, right? That's not really a gift because it's only around until someone else tries to take it away. And that's my new frame when I think about what it means to be an ally to those in the LGBTQ community. Sure, I go through my life remembering, to the best of my ability, pronouns, remembering to introduce myself with my pronouns in a certain way, trying to be welcoming, trying to be open, trying to let anyone who wants to have an aliyah to participate, all of those things. But is that good if the next rabbi could come and take it away? Is it good if we're a welcoming space? Fine, sure, people can come, but down the street they're not, or further on they're not, or in other parts of their lives there's not. Maybe part of what it means to be an ally is not just the yivarechecha, but the yishmerecha, right? Looking out for those who have been traditionally marginalized within our community and within our country. And not only thinking about how we can be accepting and we can be welcoming, which are already sort of paradigms that I think aren't entirely useful because they are accepted, they are welcome. That should be table stakes. The next step is, what are the ways in which our systems that we don't even realize are unwelcoming? What about the way we call people to the Torah, right? Which inherently is a gendered thing, maybe or maybe isn't welcoming and needs to be looked at? What are the ways in which our membership forms, which we changed that years ago, it's okay, but what are the ways in which our membership forms are inherently binary and therefore perhaps unwelcoming? And how can we go the next step to Yishmor to protect all of the gains, thank God, that we have made in being welcoming for generations to come, and keep looking out for others and keep looking out for what we need to do? And there's a great example of this, I think, in the Parsha that we read today. So there's a line that the rabbis, there's a part of the chapter, at the beginning of chapter 5, that the rabbis call Azharat HaGer, the rights of the ger, the resident alien, the non-Jew, or the convert in our community. And one of them enumerated by the rabbis is that you're not allowed to harass them. That you can't steal from them, you can't harass them. And Professor Nechama Leibovich reads through it and says, well, wait a minute, I don't actually see that prohibition in the Torah. We understand that the rabbis say that this part of the Torah means you're not allowed to harass converts, those strangers who are in our community, but the actual wording isn't there. And so she goes and investigates and tries to figure out what it is. And I just want to point out that that in and of itself is exactly what is needed of all of us in our community when it comes to thinking about the marginalized people within our community and without, is that extra step of saying, well, wait a minute, I want to make sure that there's acceptance and protections, but where is it actually embedded in this? And giving it that extra second to look for it, giving it an extra second to ask people about who they are, giving it an extra moment to learn someone's story, giving it an extra moment to just be a part of the community and investigate one another and actually just be together in this. And Nechama Leibovich reads it and she figures out, through Rashi and the Midrash's help, that it's from this verse where it says you're not allowed to wrong anyone for a number of reasons. Ve'im ein la'ish goel. And if the person has no kinsman, you really aren't allowed to wrong them. And so Rashi says, well, that must mean it's someone who has converted and has no family, right, with them, because they are the only people that Rashi could think of who wouldn't have some kinsman in the community, and therefore, those are the people that we need to look out for and protect. But he then points to, I think, a beautiful midrash, and I'm going to end with this. If you'll bear with me, I'm going to read it out. So the midrash says that the Holy One, blessed be God, has deep love for the strangers, for the ger in our community. To what may this be compared? To a king who kept a flock that went to graze every day in the fields, returning in the evening. Once a deer joined the flock, grazing with them in the fields and coming home with them. The king was told about it and loved the deer, giving orders that it should have special treatment, the best pasture, the best fields, the best food. His shepherd said to him, O king, you have so many goats and sheep, and yet you single out this one deer for special treatment. The king explained his attitude as follows. My flock, whether they like it or not, graze in the field in the day, and they come back to the pen at night. But deer, in the ordinary way, sleep in the desert and do not approach human habitation. Should we not be grateful to this deer for forsaking the wide open spaces and the other wild animals and coming to live with us? In the same way, should we not be grateful to the ger who leaves their family or leaves where they are to come to us? For this reason, God ordered special care to be taken of them, warning Israel not to cause them harm, as it says in our Parsha, you shall love the ger, you shall not oppress them. The Torah lays down equal treatment for those native Israelites and the gers among us. Now, the analogy is not exactly right, because people who are a part of our community, who are part of the LGBT community, are not like a ger. They're not strangers. They're not those who have chosen to convert, but they have chosen to be a part of our community because they don't have to be. And we are not meant to be one flock of all sheep, or all goats are all the same thing. We're goats, we're sheep, we're deer, gazelles, everything is here. And the idea is not conformity. The idea is not everyone is treated as all the same thing, but that everyone is seen for the unique deer that they are, that everyone is brought into the pasture, that everyone is given treatment, that everyone is allowed to be a part of this place, and that everyone is seen as special, and everyone can be here. And so for the people among our community who are part of the LGBTQ community, we hope that you feel comfortable and special and honored. And if not, we will do our best to continue to be a welcoming and open place, to try to be more than allies, but guardians, and to protect the rights of those in our community who are marginalized for whatever reason that it is, to be their fullest selves, to be acknowledged as their fullest selves. And for all of us here, whatever part we play in this role, whether we're the sheep, the goats, the deer, the pastor, the king, whatever it is, we know that we are all a part of one flock here, and that we all look out for one another, and that we all go do what we're doing and come back here together, to be together in this moment and to welcome one another. Shabbat Shalom.